everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood art teacher. I'm going to show you how to add color to your Pointillism Part 1 assignment. I have here a tray of what they call semi-moist pan watercolors, and I'm going to start by getting them wet. It's a little challenging to do with a small brush, but basically what you want to do is get each of your pans a little wet with some clean water, or at least the colors that you know you're going to use right away. And I'm going to start with the warm colors, so I'm getting them a little bit wet. And the whole idea of watercolor paint is that it's translucent, meaning you can see through it. So it should always be wet and drippy. It should never be thick or stiff like something like a tempera paint or an acrylic. So I have two options here. One is I can stick with the same colors that I was using before, or I can use complementary colors. So I'm going to do a little bit of both so that you can see what the difference is. So I'm going to approximate the middle of my picture and draw a line. And I'm going to do one technique on one side and one on the other. I have a piece of test paper here so that I can see how dark my colors are, because you guys know that you can control the darks and lights of your colors. So this is a beautiful yellow, and I'm going to start by painting that down here. And I'm going for dots again. And you don't have to be too fussy about where you put the dots, because the crayon is what's called a resist. It will keep the dots it will not allow them to be covered with paint. So I'm just filling in between my greens with some yellow. And then I'm going to keep going up here a ways. You can just tap it with your paintbrush if you want that, if you think that's going to work better. But I'm kind of looking for a slightly larger dot or spot. And I'm going to let those colors dry, and I'm going to work in a different area. Because if you know anything about watercolor, you know that it all blends together when it's wet. And we don't want that. We want to see individual colors. So there, I've got a pattern of yellow dots. So I think on this side, the complement to yellow is actually violet. And violet is yellow's complement. So I'm going to stick with my yellow, and I'm going to come into these places where I have purple, because on this side I'm going to keep the colors monochromatic, meaning I'm going to keep yellows with yellows and greens and, you know, stay in the same family. And on this side I'm going to go complementary. So I'm going to put yellow spots in the background wherever there's purple. And there'll be places where I have some blue and things like that mixed in, and that's okay. I'm just shooting for most of the sort of purpley areas. Oops, ha! I just put my brush in orange. Okay, so what is orange's complement? Blue. So I'm going to put some orange in between my blues. And again, I'm not going to let them mix in with my yellows. And you can have lights and darks, and you can make red oranges and yellow oranges and things like that, so that you're not sticking to just one color. The goal is going to be to get rid of all of your white. So you'll see, you know, to target the white spots with your dots. It's not the world's prettiest orange color paint, I have to say. I'm going to switch to a little bit of red. test my color. That's a pretty intense red. And so this, again, this side is the side where I'm keeping the colors similar. And if I put red dots in with the red paint, I may not see it all that much. So I'm going to put some red dots in with my orange paint. And then I'll put orange dots in with my red. And then I'm just going to keep going like this until I've filled up all of the white. And it might mean that I have to leave it, let it dry, come back to it a little bit later, and do some more work on it, so that I don't end up with areas that all touch and blur together. And I'm probably going to keep some orange in with some of my oranges and things like that too. I'll see as I go what colors I think are going to look good together. All right, so at this point I am going to pause it and put it on time lapse, so that you get to see the sped up version of it.